So needless to say that 2024 was not the best year for superhero movies. However, in this video we're going to talk about all 5 of the Marvel and DC movies that were released theatrically from the worst to the best. My list is not the right list, but it's just my opinion. I would like to know your guys' list down below in the comment section. I love to share opinions across the board, keep the conversation open, keep it nice and respectful. But coming in at last place is Madam Web, and I'm gonna be honest with you, this is not the true bottom. I mean, as this movie and Kraven the Hunter are both interchangeable in terms of their quality, I put this one at the true bottom because there's actually far less that I enjoy about this movie, despite it being one of Marvel's best comedies unintentionally. The concept for this movie was better than the actual finished project. From what I understand, the original plot line was going to be a Terminator 2 plot line where they have to save Peter Parker as a kid. That was far more interesting than what we got with this overall movie with Dakota Johnson. God rest her. Her acting is terrible in this, but that's because the material that she's given is absolutely horrible.
Get up. Get off. Get off. Get up. Me? Go. Get off. You're gonna die if you stay here. Get up. What?
This movie was constantly reshot, reworked to try and fit into their Sony Spider-Man list Spider-Man universe, taking D-grade characters that we just do not care about and not even doing anything really with them. At least when James Gunn did Guardians of the Galaxy, he took characters that nobody knows about and makes them into characters that we love. This movie does not do that, and by the end of this movie, I did feel incredibly drained, though it is hilarious at times. The acting is terrible.
And when you take on the responsibility, great power will come.
Oh, and by the way, this video is going to be sponsored by Pepsi because that's the main thing that defeated the main villain at the end of the movie. I don't know, guys. Madam Web was just not that great. Coming in next place is Kraven the Hunter. The reason why I put this one slightly above Madam Web, but it can still be interchangeable because my sense of enjoyment in Madam Web is better from the sense of it being a comedy. My sense of enjoyment in this movie is it being more of a better action picture. I do think that the action sequences are a lot better. I like seeing the R-rated being used for Kraven's action sequences where he's moving much more like an animal, using traps, bear traps, snapping them on people's heads, biting off noses. A lot of cool stuff there. Also, Aaron Taylor Johnson was in 2 superhero movies before this one, so he knows how to work with the terrible material that he's given, and he's kind of a pro at this. He does a good job with what he's given, but it's still not great amongst this terrible movie. A lot of this movie consists of actors saying, oh, he's a hunter, or I'm a hunter, or we're going on the hunt. A lot of dialogue like that, a lot of just awful dialogue that's being reworked, differently worded. Not to mention the incredible line of, oh, my grandma died, and I never saw her again. Also, the Rhino in this movie is just incredible for all the wrong, memeable reasons. Again, another terrible Sony Spider-Man list Spider-Man movie, and I wish they would stop doing this because they do not work. Speaking of another one, let's talk about Venom: The Last Dance, which is next on this list. This movie doesn't really do a lot well, in my opinion. I mean, I was never a big fan of these Sony Spider-Man movies or Spider-Man list movies. I do think that the biggest element that they're missing are Spider-Man. Venom's whole motivation in the comic books is because of Spider-Man. You take that away, they're trying to go for more of this Eddie and Venom bromance, which does work in some moments, but it kind of gets old really fast. The third movie is what we wanted, was more Eddie and Venom bromance and more symbiote carnage. Instead, we get long extended road trip and symbiote carnage at the end of the movie, which the third act of the movie is actually a lot of fun, which is why I put it above Madam Web and Kraven the Hunter. But the rest of the movie is just extended road trip for no reason that doesn't really do anything different from a lot of road trip movies. And sure, Venom Horse is fun, but it's so far in between these really annoying and obnoxious comedy beats that I just don't think that this movie really works. And it takes away from the emotional send-off that we have with Eddie and Venom at the end of the movie, which I felt like was not a complete arc by any standard. And it's a shame that we never did get that Tom Hardy and, Tom Holland fight, but Oh well, I guess it was a Venom movie, right? Next up, we have Joker Folie à Deux. Oh, people are gonna be mad that I put this above all these 3 movies, but hear me out. I think that this movie, from a production standpoint, is just fine. I mean, the cinematography, the production itself is just fine. The acting is phenomenal in this movie, and also the first act of the movie as the setup, I actually really dug. Also, like some ideas that they have, like Harley Quinn in this version being more of the manipulator, or as she's known as Lee in the movie, being more of the manipulator of Arthur, I think is a very different, unique take, and being more obsessed with the actual Joker more than Arthur. That's also very unique as well. But the part that really bothers me about this movie is the fact that it's a movie that actively alienates its fan base, and not in a good way. This movie actively is a big middle finger to Batman fans and DC fans alike. You're taking a character like the Joker and basically ruining everything that worked in the first movie. Was never going to work. This Arthur is not even actually the Joker. By the end of the movie, it's revealed that he's the inspiration for the true Joker, as he does get shanked at the end, and then the inmate cuts a smile on his face.
How about I get you what you fucking deserve?
That was never going to work. I absolutely was pissed off by that. A movie that actively is meant to piss off your fan base was never a good idea, in my opinion. And it did a good job in pissing us all off, because what we were expecting was a Joker movie, but instead this movie could be titled Arthur. Hate the first movie. Like, why? Also, was not a big fan, and this still gets to me a lot, is the part where Arthur is raped by the prison guards.
Mind your business, Bullet. What'd you do to him? Shut the fuck up, Ricky.
That was included in a movie for no reason, and it still bothers me, and really debunked this a lot. Like, that was not needed in the movie. But I'm done talking about Joker. Let's talk about the number 1 in this list, and that is, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine. This movie did everything right in the sense of entertainment. It feels like you're riding a roller coaster throughout this entire movie. As a Marvel fan, you're getting what you want. This is not really a MCU film. It has MCU elements in there from Loki and some references to other characters, but it's not really an MCU film. It's more of a celebration of everything 20th Century Fox. Whether it worked or didn't work, that's up to you, but bottom line, it was a lot of fun. I love all the comic book Easter eggs that they have with all the variants of these characters.
Burn brown and tan. Now, you fought the Hulk in this outfit, no?
And I especially love that we get to see a comic book accurate Wolverine and a comic book accurate Deadpool on this trip, trying to battle these things together. This movie is just a lot of fun, lots of great action sequences, probably the best I've seen in a while in a Marvel movie. And yeah, this movie has a lot of rewatchability compared to some of the other MCU films in the last couple phases. I also think that this movie suffers from the multiverse problem as well, much like No Way Home, but this film is actually far more rewatchable than No Way Home, in my opinion, because it doesn't have those awkward moments of silence that was left for the audience. That's not really in this movie. It just shows the characters, and then you're like, oh, okay. It's not as awkward. And will Hugh Jackman be playing Wolverine until his 90s? Probably. That's my ranking for the 2024 movies. Was it the worst year for comic book movies? No. But it was a pretty bad year for comic book movies, and I hope that this year does better, especially with the release of Superman coming out, which I think is my most hyped comic book movie. I'm looking forward to the new Captain America movie. I'm like, despite the early reviews, I'm still holding out hope, especially for my boy Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk, which you guys know on this channel how much I love the Red Hulk. But now I'm just rambling on. What are your guys' lists? Comment them down below, and as always, if you guys like the video, make sure you guys subscribe today to join the civilization.